Hi, Representative. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Thanks for taking a minute to speak. I know it's a pretty crazy day for you, and wanted to make sure that people who follow my account know what's going on. I'm sure a lot of people who follow your account concerned to know what's going on too. My biggest message is whether you're from Texas or anywhere else in the United States, you've got a lot at stake in this gerrymander that they're trying to pull off in Texas. So, could you share a little bit about how we got here, what's going on, what you're doing to stop it, and then maybe we can get into how people around the country can help. But first of all, thanks again for taking time, and please share a bit about what's going on.
Yes, thanks, Mayor Pete. I really appreciate having an opportunity to talk to your viewers about what's going on in Texas, why this impacts every single American. So, I'm a member of the Texas House, and in Texas, we have this thing called quorum. We're one of 4 states in the whole country where if we have enough members who are gone, which is if we need 2/3 of members to pass any business of the House, right? I'm a Democrat, and so we don't have a majority in the House in Texas, but we have enough numbers to make the difference on quorum. There's 150 members in the Texas House. There are 62 of us, and they need to have 100 members there to continue with business of the House. There is this terrible bill that Trump has asked Governor Abbott to move forward with, and that is a bill to gerrymander mid-decade Texas in order to gain 5 extra Republican members of Congress out of Texas. And the way that we are going about this is by targeting for elimination. The Republicans are targeting for elimination congressional districts that are majority Black and brown. How do I know that? Well, I know because I've looked at the maps that are in the bill that they're trying to pass. And I also know it because that is what the proclamation issued by the governor authorizing the special session said they would be doing. They're using a U.S. Attorney General letter to Governor Abbott. Pam Bondi wrote a letter saying, we need you to look at these districts because they are majority Black and brown. They think that's a violation of the law to have districts that are majority Black and brown. That's just the reality of who our communities are in Texas.
So, to be clear, this is disempowering minority voters, and this is also disempowering anybody who believes in balanced government, right? This would
Absolutely
leave a huge skew. I mean, roughly speaking, how many, if they pull off this plan to manipulate the districts, roughly how many Republican districts and how many Democratic districts do you expect there would be?
I don't know what the totals are, but I know that our maps were already the most racially gerrymandered congressional maps in the whole country. In fact, we were already in lawsuits last month. We just wrapped up lawsuits last month on the current maps that were passed in 2021 because they disenfranchise Latino communities predominantly. That's where most of the growth has been in Texas, is in the Latino community, yet we didn't gain any extra seats. And then with these maps that are proposed by Trump in order to gain 5 more Republicans, they would take our only Latino seat out of Austin, where I represent. We have 2 congressional seats in Austin. One of them's a Latino opportunity district. In other words, the Latino community gets an opportunity to choose the candidate of their choice. Houston, same thing. Houston will no longer have a Latino representative under the maps proposed by Trump. Houston is the city in the whole state with the largest Latino population. It's unconscionable, and it is absolutely race-based.
So it was already a map that was skewed to favor Republicans, skewed to make it harder for Latino and Black voters to have communities of interest reflected on the map, and now they're going to make it that much more so. You explained the quorum system. Is there anything else that can be done to stop this?
Well, so we broke quorum in 2021, and that was to stop an anti-voter bill. We ended up going to DC and we lobbied for the John Lewis Voting Rights Act. We lobbied Congress to pass that. That didn't happen, but something else did. The nation saw what Texas Republicans were doing, and it shamed Texas Republicans into gutting their own bill. They took out the provisions of the bill that were the most egregious, one that would have banned Sunday morning voting. We have this long standing tradition in African American churches where after service, the community, the faith community goes to vote together. This was an attack on them. They were shamed into removing that part of the bill because they could not justify it once a light was shined on it. There was another provision in the bill that would have given elected judges the opportunity to overturn election results, overturn the will of the voters. And so they removed that because they could not defend those two provisions. So we gutted the bill and essentially saved free and fair elections, especially with that second provision they had to remove. We could not have known then when we broke quorum that would be the outcome. We just knew we could win for the day. It was the right thing to do. And that's how we're taking this quorum break. It's a day by day situational fight. And we will do everything in our power to assess the situation and do what we can to win.
So this is a really important point. I know often I think people who are trying to fight some of the worst excesses of the Trump administration feel like there's nothing we can do, like we're pushing on a string because they control all of these levers of government. That's true in Washington. That's definitely been true in Texas, where you've got one party control of so many of the instruments of government, and yet what you're saying is you've already shown that you can change the outcome by using this quorum strategy, right? Last time around, even with a real powerful grip that the Republicans had on the legislature, they still walked away from some of the most outrageous provisions of what they were trying to do because of what you did and your fellow legislators did to prevent that from happening. And this is the same. We don't know how this is going to play out, but this is using some of the same strategies, right?
Yes, this was a lesson learned in the last quorum break, but I will say generally to brag upon ourselves, we punch above our weight in Texas. We have to. We're scrappy and we try to just find ways to win. That's what we're doing today, winning for the day, because the threat to our constituents and the threat to every American, if they get to redistrict mid-decade, like we all know, Mayor Pete, we know that the party in charge gets to draw the maps to their favor every decade. Is that right? No, but it is reality. But you can't do it every time. If you can do it every time because you fear bad outcomes the next election, then we no longer have free and fair elections in this country. If they succeed in Texas, they will do this in every state. And even if they don't go to any other states, to get 5 more Republican members in Congress at a time when this country is so split and divided could mean the difference between Democratic control of Congress and not, and the difference between holding Trump accountable or not.
And something must have changed for them to feel like they have to do this in the middle of the decade. Like you pointed out, this happens every decade because the census happens every decade. We get new population numbers, and Congress has to, or the states have to redraw their congressional districts. Some of them do it on a bipartisan basis, which I think is the right thing to do. Texas has done it on a partisan basis, so they're already pretty one-sided, but they're doing it now very suddenly, right, at the president's request in the middle of the decade. Why do you think they felt the need to do that? What has changed compared to a year ago or 3 years ago when they set up these districts in the first place, that even on that map that's tilted to their favor, now they think they might lose? Is it my theory, but you're closer to this than I am. My theory is it has to do with such unpopular steps that they force down the throats of the voters: the tax cuts for the rich, the cuts to Medicaid, the cuts to food, eliminating the Department of Education, are trying to do that they know they're going to lose if they don't put a thumb on the scale. But is that your sense? And what are the issues that you're hearing the most about among your constituents and your neighbors in Texas?
Yes, I think that's exactly what is happening. I think you're right. Trump is running scared. He knows his policies are not popular. If you've been to the grocery store lately, it really hurts. Americans are feeling that. Texans are feeling that. These pay-to-play tariffs that have been imposed on our goods have hurt working families. 17 million Americans, as you know, lost health care, and that hits Texans hard. We know that there have been cuts to our neighborhood schools. The list goes on and on. These these are policy issues that impact the most intimate part of our lives as Texans. And Texans did not vote for this, what Trump is doing. And yes, I think he is afraid to be held accountable, and so is trying to rig the next election by manipulating the map so as to predetermine the outcome of the 26th election.
Yeah, it seems to me that if you see that you're about to lose because of your policies, what you should be changing is your policies, not the rules of the game or the maps that people are running in. And it just shows on a fair map, they know that they're going to lose. I was just looking up some of the numbers. I mean, if you look at the last couple of presidential elections, Texas is something like maybe a 55-45 state, depending on the election, depending on the year, depending how you look at it. This is not something that would lead to a 55-45 congressional delegation, right? This is trying to make it way more lopsided than that. One other thing I want to point out, and I know you're in the middle of a complicated day, so I don't want to take too much more of your time. But I just want to point out for anybody following along, this takes some real courage. Right now, what Representative Hinojosa and other representatives are doing is they're doing their jobs. I know that can seem a little paradoxical because they're stepping away from the state, but I would say, Representative, from where I'm sitting, it seems like your job is to deliver good outcomes and to prevent bad outcomes for the people you serve. And that means right now the best way to do that is to take this extreme measure. But you have been threatened with fines, you have been threatened with felonies, you've been threatened with being removed from office. I hear that there is a 3 p.m. deadline that Governor Abbott has set for everybody to start obeying him, or else there will be further consequences. It doesn't look to me like you're joining us from a vehicle right now, so I'm guessing that that you will not be responding to that command from Governor Abbott. Can you tell us about what's on the line for you and your representatives, and what you're risking by taking this step?
Well, thank you for recognizing that what we are doing is protecting our constituents. This is a call to service, right? We have been called to lead the state to do what we can to stop this bill that would hurt our constituents. I will tell you that my constituents are expressing a lot of support, a lot of gratitude for the actions that we're taking. We're leaving our families behind. Many are leaving jobs behind. We are not a full-time legislature, so this is a part-time job for us. We don't make a full-time salary. So yes, it is a sacrifice. But if you think about all the many ways Americans have sacrificed for our values, for our freedoms, this is not so big in comparison, and something that I do humbly and really just, it's a privilege to be able to do it. So yes, the governor is threatening to take our seats. He cannot lawfully do that, but we are in a space where Trump sets an example of acting outside the bounds of the law. And Trump has requested this of our governor and of our Republican legislature. And you may have experienced this, but my experience with these Republicans is they are not free to do what they want. They have to do exactly as they are told. We learned this in a voucher fight last session, where Trump called the day of the vote and told all Republicans that he wanted them to vote for a public school voucher bill, or private school voucher bill, I'm sorry. So they are not free to act. And I'm not concerned about what Abbott does. I'm concerned about making sure I protect my constituents.
Well, I want to recognize your focus on doing the right thing for the people who have asked you to represent them, and that you are putting a lot on the line by choosing to do this. Which brings me to the last thing that I wanted to discuss before returning you to your day, which is a little more about how people can help, whether they're inside Texas or outside of Texas. Again, everybody in the country has a stake at this, because the entire U.S. House makeup could be manipulated by this very obvious, very blatant gerrymandering that they're trying to do in Texas. So if somebody's among the thousands of people watching us have this conversation right now, if somebody's at home, somebody's fired up about this, wants to make sure they have your back, wants to make sure that they're encouraging a good outcome, what are some things that anybody could do to support you and your colleagues as you take this courageous stand?
Well, exactly what you were doing to start with. Spread the word. Please let your circles of influence know what is happening, and that this is a threat to every single American. This is happening very fast in Texas. And so part of our challenge is making sure we communicate the threats and the dangers to Texans and Americans more broadly. We are also asking for financial help. Many of our members have donation pages up so that we can pay legal services, right? Pay for lawyers and pay for communications so that we're doing a good job of representing our constituents, and that in this space where we're being threatened with all sorts of things, we have the legal help that we need to make sure that we're putting our best foot forward in court and making the best legal arguments. So I'm also a member. I'm leading this fight through the Progressive Caucus of the Texas House, and we are also trying to raise money for that effort. We have been the tip of the spear in these fights, and our message is a little different. Our way of doing things is a little different, and so we're looking for support for that work that we do.
Great. Well, I know there's a lot of people who are inspired by what you're doing, who are very concerned about what might happen, and who are supporting you and your colleagues and standing up for a fairer outcome that, again, is going to reverberate across the entire country. So you've got a lot going on. I'm going to return you to your afternoon, but thanks for taking a little time to speak. Hopefully we'll be able to celebrate coming through this difficult moment by the next time I speak with you. And look forward to the next chance we'll have to cross paths. Really appreciate what you're doing.
Take care. Thank you.
Take care. Be well.